All right, so this time we're going to talk about the fourth beast, y'all. The fourth beast is coming, ready or not. It's coming for you, Judah. Hallelujah. So, adding on to what the things that we've been studying about Jacob's trouble, it's all coming from this fourth beast. Now, I want y'all to think about it. This fourth beast is as a iron spider, as a iron spider of the devil. So y'all think about what a spider does. A spider has many legs. A spider has many eyes. And a spider also is a predator. And it spins its web in order to ensnare its prey. And once its prey gets ensnared in the spider's net, it ain't getting out. So the beast system is a iron spider, with iron legs, with iron eyes, and an iron web to catch its prey. I want y'all to think about this. What is an iron web? Bars, like prison, jail, an iron web. And driving this spider, riding on this spider, is two deities of the beast system. One is division amongst men. So this beast system, this iron spider, is coming to bring division. Political division, economical division, racial division. And another thing that's driving this iron spider is racial hatred. Racial hatred. This is why it says in Matthew 24 that in the end time, nation will rise against nation. What does the word nation mean? Ethnos, ethnicity against ethnicity. So this iron spider, who is the devil, he is the one that is pushing this division amongst men and this racial hatred. And one of the legs of this iron spider is a police state, a police militarized state. And so the reason why this is going to be so hard to the citizens of America, Babylon, is because we're not used to a police state. But they will bring in the police state using the iron spider. And another thing that is driving this thing, another one of the legs that they will use to bring in this police state, to bring in this racial division, to bring in this divisiveness amongst the citizens, is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is one of their weapons. And so this iron spider is going to spin its web, and its purpose is to catch prey. The iron spider, the fourth beast, is coming. A predator that you will not be able to escape from without the help of Abba Yahuwah. So another thing that this beast system is referred to is as a unclean bird of prey. This fourth beast is a unclean bird of prey. And we should all know what that bird of prey is. An eagle. An eagle, an unclean bird of prey. So let's see some of the qualities of the eagle, and you'll see more qualities of this beast system. One of the qualities of the eagle is it is known for having absolutely expert vision. It has expert sight. An eagle can spot its prey from on high, miles away. Now think about it. That ties into the many eyes of the spider. The eagle is a bird of prey with excellent vision. Think about AI. Think about surveillance. It's going to have excellent vision. Another thing about the eagle is it has a wide wingspan. A wide wingspan. So its span can cover a wide territory. This ties back into the web. It has a wide wingspan. It has wide reach that it can see its prey from on high. Wide wingspan, meaning it is far reaching. And then, of course, the obvious thing that the bird, the unclean bird of prey, does is it catches its prey with its talons. And talons are like literally these knives that's on the end of its feet. And so once it spots you from on high, then it soars down using its wings. If it catches you in those talons, you have a little, almost to none chance of escape. And so the last thing of this bird of prey, I want y'all to be thinking about as we're thinking about all of this, thinking about the beast system, that it has this beak that is also like tearing knives. So it catches you with these iron talons, and then it literally shreds you apart. So when you think about the beast as it's described in Daniel chapter 7, look at this real quick. Daniel chapter 7, verse 7. Daniel chapter 7, verse 7, and it says this. After this, I looked in the night visions and saw a fourth beast, fearsome and burly and exceedingly strong. Look at this. And it had great iron teeth. Great iron teeth. That is that iron beak. That is that metal beak. Daniel chapter 7, verse 7. It said it had great iron teeth, and with its teeth and with its talons, it devoured It crushed, it trampled down the rest with its feet. So with its teeth, it devoured and crushed, and it trampled down the rest with its iron talons, its feet. And it was different from all the other beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. So this beast, this fourth beast, is as a spider and as a eagle. The fourth beast is coming, whether you're ready or not. Whether you are ready for the things that are to come or not, it is coming. So we are best to be using our times wisely to get ready for the fourth beast. Hallelujah. So who is it coming for?
Jacob.
Yes. So this beast, this fourth beast, it hates the woman. And it is coming for anything that is trying to steal its authority. So remember what we talked about with the messengers. Their authority was taken from them and given to Adam. Therefore, the beast came for him. And so it is also coming for this woman, and it hates this woman because it has been prophesied that this woman is going to crush his head. Hallelujah. So the devil is following the house of Judah because it knows that from the house of Judah came this king named David. So if the king comes from Judah, then maybe the one that is going to crush my head is going to come from this king. And so now let's get, the devil uses these four beast systems to hunt down the lineage of David, the seed of Judah. So let's go to the first beast. Let's look at the first beast. Let's look at Nebuchadnezzar's Babylon, the first beast. And what we're going to do is go over these four beasts, and through these four beasts, which is this iron spider, this fourth beast will be this iron spider and this eagle. But going through this, we can get some ideas of how to overcome this beast that's coming. So what are the main points of Nebuchadnezzar's Babylon that we could take away from? What went on at the very top? Nebuchadnezzar made an image. He made an image, and he commanded that anyone would hear the music, that they would bow themselves and worship the image of the beast. Hallelujah. So what can we get away from this? That laws are coming. Laws are coming in this fourth beast. Y'all can see how easy the laws are going to come. Look at this weirdo president we got. He just wakes up every day and creates a law. And so remember, no matter what law is created for this nation, it's all eventually pointing to you. So everything you see going on with the ICE and the immigration and the taking away the food and all of that, it's all aimed in the spirit and in the long run at you, Judah. Hallelujah. Daniel chapter 3 and this vision of this beast. Daniel chapter 3, starting at verse 1, it says, "And Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and its width 60 cubits. And he set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon." Look at number 2. "And the sovereign Nebuchadnezzar sent word to gather all the governors and the counselors and the treasurers and the judges and the magistrates and all the officials of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which sovereign Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And the nobles and the governors and the counselors and the treasurers and the judges and the magistrates and all the officials of the provinces gathered together for the dedication of the image that sovereign Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then a herald loudly proclaimed, 'To you who is commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that as soon as you hear the sound of the horn, the flute, the zither, and the lyre, and the harp, and the pipes, and all kind of instruments, you fall down and do obeisance to the image of gold that Nebuchadnezzar has set up. And whoever does not fall down and do obeisance is immediately thrown into the midst of the burning fire.' So as soon as all of the people heard the sound of the horn and the flute and the zither and the lyre and the harp and all kind of instruments, all the people, nations, and languages fell down and did obeisance to the image that sovereign Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Thereupon, at that time, certain Kasdim came forward and accused the Yahudim." So here's another thing you're going to have to watch out is snitches. Snitches. At that time, a certain Kasdim, a certain Babylonian, a certain official came forward and accused who? The Yahudim. Do y'all see what's coming? Even if we are safe, you're going to have snitches. And these snitches spoke and said to sovereign Nebuchadnezzar, "O sovereign, live forever. You, O sovereign, have made a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn and the flute and the zither and the lyre and the harp and the pipes and all kinds of instruments shall fall down and do obeisance to the image. And whoever does not fall down to do obeisance is thrown into the midst of a burning furnace of fire." Snitching, verse 12. See, there are certain Yahudim who you have set over the work of the province of Babel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O my sovereign, pay no heed to you. They do not serve your false god, and they do not do obeisance to the image of gold that you have set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in a rage and wrath, gave orders to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the sovereigns, and Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said to them, "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my God, and you do not do obeisance to the image of gold that I set up? Now, if you are ready, when you hear the sound of the horn, the flute, the zither, the lyre, the harp, the pipes, and all kind of instruments, you fall down and do obeisance to the image which I have made. But if you do not do obeisance, you are immediately thrown into the midst of a burning furnace of fire. And who is the God who delivers you from my hands?" 16. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said, O sovereign Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. For if so, our Elohim, who we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning furnace of fire and from your hand, O sovereign, he does deliver. 18. But even if he doesn't, let it be known to you, O sovereign, that we do not serve your false god, nor do we do obeisance to the image of gold which you have set up. Hallelujah. So what have we learned so far? That you have to use wisdom of Yahuwah in the midst of these people. 2, that some kind of law, some kind of thing is going to come about trying to get you to worship this thing. And if you don't worship it, they're going to come and kill you. And you have to watch out, because snitches will be in your midst that will rat you out. But just as your forefathers, who were Yahudim, be strong to the end, no matter what, and you shall be rewarded. Hallelujah. So there is a reward for enduring. Let's look at the reward for them standing strong and Yahuwah delivering them from the fiery furnace. Verse 28. It says, and Nebuchadnezzar responded after they had been saved from the fiery furnace and said, blessed be the Elohim of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his messenger and delivered his servants who trusted in him, and changed the sovereign's order, and gave up their bodies that they should not serve or do obeisance to any other Elohim except their own Elohim. Therefore, I, Nebuchadnezzar, make a decree that whoever of any people, nation, or language who speaks any wrong against the Elohim of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, his limbs shall be taken, and his house shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other Elohim who is able to deliver like this. The reward, number 30. Then the sovereign Nebuchadnezzar promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the providence of Babylon. The first beast. Hallelujah. So now let's look on another thing concerning this first beast. You got Daniel. Daniel. Now turn to Daniel chapter 6. And so it's dissecting and slowly going through these things that you will see what is coming. And not only what's coming, but how your ancestors, who are Yahudim, how they endured. Hallelujah. So in Daniel chapter 6, Daniel and the lion's den. So what we're going to see here is that laws were made and given to the nation as a whole, but they was deep down undercover in secret places, specifically aimed at the Yahudim. So even though this law that was made in Daniel chapter 6, it went out to the whole nation, but the ones who came up with it only had the Yahudim in mind. So think about this when you see what's going on. When you see what's going on with all of this ICE, even when you see what's going on with them, like bombing Venezuela and all of this, this is all aimed at you in the long run. these wicked devil worshipers, these wicked masons are coming up with these things with you in mind. Let's see how that played out. Daniel chapter 6. It says, and it pleased Darius to appoint over the reign 120 to be over all the kingdom, and over them 3 governors, of whom Daniel was one. So Daniel is a leader. Now you got other people in this kingdom who didn't like him being a leader, so that the should give account to them, and the sovereign suffer no loss. Then this Daniel distinguished himself above the governors because an excellent spirit was in him. It says that he distinguished himself because an excellent spirit was in him. So what can you eat on that? Even at work, distinguish yourself. And the sovereign king planned to appoint Daniel over all the reign. Because of what? The excellent spirit that was in him. So because he was planning to do this, these other people, they got wind of it, and look what they do. Then the governors sought to find an accusation against Daniel concerning the reign. They are literally going to be looking for things. The same way they just pull you over and just try to find something on you. Be clean, y'all. Give them nothing to accuse you by. It says that these people sought to find an accusation against Daniel concerning the reign. Look, but they were unable to find accusation or corruption because he was steadfast, and no negligence or corruption was found in him. That has to be us. During this beast system, that has to be you. Like, look how Trump just went after that black attorney general, right? But if these things are true that they're accusing her of, her hands is dirty, and you're playing against a beast. They're going to search every nook and cranny of your life and try to find something. You have to have clean hands and what? A pure heart. Number 5, then these men said, we shall not find any accusation against this Daniel unless we find it against him concerning what? The law of his Elohim. The only way we're going to trip up Daniel is according to the Bible. The only way we're going to trip up these black people is according to the book. Because we know that they are going to follow the book. They are not out here breaking laws. They are not out here fornicating and cheating. They're not out here robbing and stealing. But if we can come up with something that is religious related, they'll break it. Then the governors and viceroys tumultuously gathered before the sovereign and said this to him: Sovereign Darius, live forever. And all the governors of the reigns and the nobles and the viceroys and the counselors and the advisors consulted together to establish a royal decree to make a strong interdict a strong law that whoever petitions any other god or man for 30 days except you, O sovereign, is thrown into the dens of lions. And so they knew that the governor, this king, would go for this because this is giving him esteem. But it was all a trick. It was all a plot against the Yahudim. And now, O sovereign, establish the inner dink, signing the writing, so that it is not able to be changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which does not pass away. So King Darius signed the inner dink, and Daniel, when he knew that the writing was signed, he went home in his upper room, and when his windows opened towards Yerushalayim, he knelt down on his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his Elohim as he had done before. Then these men tumultuously gathered and found Daniel praying and entreating before his Elohim. And they approached the sovereign and spoke concerning the interdink, saying, have you not signed the interdink that every man who petitions any other Alua or man within 30 days, except you, O sovereign, is thrown into the den of lions? And the sovereign said, the word is certain according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which does not pass away. And they answered and said before the sovereign, Daniel is one of the sons of the exile of Judah. He pays no heed to you, O sovereign, for the interdink that you have signed, but makes his petition and makes it 3 times a day. Snitching. Laws are going to be made that are going to come and going to be aimed straight at you. And so we know the story that according to the law, they had to throw Daniel in the lion's den, and that Yahuwah protected him and Daniel overcame. Let's skip down to verse 23 after Daniel survives the lion den. And it says, then the sovereign was very glad and gave orders that Daniel be taken up out the den, for Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no harm was found on him. Why? Because he trusted in his Elohim. So just like in the first one, the reward for enduring. Skip down to verse 26. And it says, before me is made a decree that throughout every rule of my reign, men are to tremble and fear before the Elohim of Daniel, for he is a living Elohim and steadfast forever. And his reign is one which is not destroyed, and his rule is unto the end. He delivers, he rescues, he works signs and wonders in the heaven and on the earth, for he has delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. Look at this. 28. And this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Koresh the Persian. Hallelujah. Daniel was promoted for enduring. So what do we have to see during this first beast? That we're going to have to use skill and wisdom. And that some image is going to come up. And the beast system is going to try to force you to worship it. And that laws are going to be made. And that these laws are made and they're aimed at Yahudah. And that there will be snitches. Now, turn to Revelation chapter 13 and let's see that what you just read is actually an end time prophecy, a foreshadow. Turn to Revelation chapter 13. Revelation chapter 13. Start at verse 11. Come on, Sister Taylor. Revelation 13, start at verse 11. So this is showing that what you just read in Daniel is a end time prophecy. Come on.
And I saw another beast coming up out the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he does great signs, so that he even makes fire come down from the heaven on the earth before men. And he leads astray those dwelling on the earth because of those signs which he was given to do before the beast, saying to those dwelling on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword, yet lived. And there was given to him to give spirit to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause to be killed as many as would not worship the image of the beast.
Yes. So as many as would not worship the image of this beast. That is the same thing that just happened in the book of Daniel, chapter 3. The beast is coming. But this time, it's going to be a spider with iron talons. Let's go to the second beast. Let's go to the Medes and Persians. Turn to the book of Esther. Esther chapter 3, start at verse 7. The main plot is Haman, who is an Amalekite. Who are the Amalekites?
The ones that hit you from the rear.
That he told not to ever forget, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's their lineage from? Whose trouble is this called?
Jacob's.
Jacob's trouble. Mm-hmm. So where did Jacob's trouble begin?
His brother.
In his womb with who?
Esau.
Oh, the Esau descendants? Esau descendants?
Yeah, the Amalekites are Edomites.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So here in the second beast, we see that this old brother hatred first make its appearance, trying to destroy his brother. Esther chapter 3, starting at verse 7. It says, in the first new month, which is the new month of Nisan in the 12th year, someone cast pur, that is lot, before Haman from day to day and from new month to new month until it fell on the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. And Haman told sovereign Ahasuerus. So look, you got Edomites once again snitching to the authorities concerning Judah. Look, and Haman told sovereign Ahasuerus, there's a certain people scattered and dispersed from amongst the people in all the providence of your reign, whose laws are different from all the people, and they do not do the sovereign's law. Therefore, it is not in the sovereign's interest to let them remain. Now remember, Haman was like second in charge right now. Haman, verse 9, if it pleases the sovereign, let a decree be written to destroy them, and let me pay them 10,000 talents of silver into the hands of those who do the work, to bring it into the sovereign's treasuries. And the sovereign, the king, he took his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman. Look, gave it to Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of the Yahudim. Let's look at this. Who are the Agagites? Right there it says the Agagites refer to people who are considered descendants of Ag, king of the Amalekites. All right? Who are the Amalekites? According to AI, yes, the Amalekites are descendants of Esau. So now you see why in Deuteronomy 25, why they would have no compassion on us. It is a bloodline hatred that started in the womb. Verse 10, it says, and the sovereign took his signet ring from the hand and gave it to Haman, son of the Agagite, the enemy of the Yahudim. And the sovereign said to Haman, the silver and the people are given to you. Do to them as it seems good to you. Verse 12, and the sovereign scribes were called on the 13th day of the first new month, and the decree was written according to all Haman commanded. And to the viceroys of the sovereign and the governors who were over each province, and the officers of all the people, and to every province according to the writing, and to all the people in their language, it was written in the name of the sovereign Ahasuerus, and sealed with the sovereign signet ring. And the letters were sent by the runners into all the sovereign's provinces to cut off, to kill, and to destroy all the Yahudim, both young and old, little children, women, in one day, on the 13th day of the 12th new month, which is the new month of Adar, and to plunder their possessions. The beast is coming after you, Judah. It is an iron spider. It is a vicious, unclean bird. That has no mercy on the young or the old. Hallelujah. Turn to chapter 7. And so we know that they overcame and that they ended up killing Haman by Yahuwah using Queen Esther in her wisdom. Chapter 7, it says, and the sovereign and Haman came in to drink with sovereigness Esther. And again on the second day, at the feast of wine, the sovereign said to Esther, what is your position, sovereigness Esther? And it is given to you. What is your request? You can have up to half my reign, and it is done. And the sovereigns, Queen Esther, answered and said, if I have found favor in your eyes, O sovereign, and if it pleases the sovereign, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. For we have been sold, my people and I, to be cut off, to be killed, and to be destroyed. And if we had been sold as male and female slaves, I would have kept my mouth silent, although the adversary could not make up for the sovereign's loss. Then the sovereign Ahasuerus asked Sovereigness Esther, who is he? Where is he? Whose heart is set to do so? Then Esther said, the adversary and enemy is this evil Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the sovereign and the sovereigness. And the sovereign, arising in his wrath from the fine wine, went into the palace garden, and Haman remained there before Sovereigness Esther, pleading for his life. And when he saw that evil had been decided against him by the sovereign, when the sovereign returned from the palace garden to the place of the feast of wine, Haman was falling on the couch where Esther was. And the sovereign said, also to ravish the sovereigness while I am in the house? And the word left the sovereign's mouth, and they covered Haman's face. And Harbonah, one of the eunuchs, said to the sovereign, also see the wooden structure, 50 cubits in height, which Haman made for Mordecai, who spoke good on behalf of the sovereign, is standing in the house of Haman. And the sovereign said to him, impale him on it. And they hanged Haman on the wooden structure that he had prepared for Mordecai. And the sovereign's wrath was abated. Hallelujah. So you notice there that it called Haman the adversary, the devil. So Haman here is showing you a preview of the beast's kingdom. This is a preview of the beast that is coming. Turn to chapter 9. Turn to chapter 9 and look at verse 13 and 14. Chapter 9, verse 13 and 14. Come on, Sister Taylor, read chapter 9, 13 and 14. And this is going to show you that Haman and his sons represents the beast and its 10 horns. Esther chapter 9 started verse 13.
And Esther said, if it pleases the sovereign, let it be given to the Yahudim who are in Shushan to do again tomorrow according to today's decree, and let Haman's 10 sons be hung on the wooden structure.
How many sons?
And 10.
10. The 10 horns. Come on.
And the sovereign commanded this to be done. And the decree was given to Shushan, and they hung Haman's 10 sons.
Hallelujah. The beast system is coming. Laws are going to be made, and they're coming for us. Hallelujah. The fourth beast is coming, ready or not. Turn to chapter 10. And so just like in the previous, you got the first beast, the men were rewarded and promoted for overcoming. So was Mordecai. Chapter 10. The reward for enduring. It says, and sovereign Ahasuerus laid compulsory labor on all the land and the islands of the sea, and all the acts of his power and his might, to exact amount of the greatness of Mordecai, which the sovereign made him great. Are they not written in the book of the annals of the sovereigns of the Medes and the Persians? Number 3, for Mordecai, the Yahudi, was second to sovereign Ahasuerus and great amongst the Yahudim and pleasing to his many brothers, seeking the good of his people and speaking peace to all his seed. He was rewarded up to second in command for overcoming. Barak Yahuwah. So what do we see concerning the second beast? That laws are going to be made by Edomites concerning you to kill you and destroy you as a people. The beast is coming. Hallelujah. Let's go to the third beast, the Grecians. The Grecians. So what was the main thing concerning the third beast, the Greeks?
I would say that they started changing and manipulating things, taking things of our culture, you know, our tablets, our scrolls, and things like that, and manipulating it into their into their standard is what I'll say.
Yes. Hallelujah. The Grecians. What did they do? They forced assimilation. They forced assimilation. They forced us to mix in with them. They forced us to try to blend in with them. By doing what? They suppressed our laws. They suppressed our laws. So when you're listening to this, you got to think about the beast that's coming. They suppressed our laws, and they made us adapt to Greek laws and Greek customs. So they forced us to put away our own laws and then forced us to adapt to Greek laws and Greek customs. Something else that happened during the time of the Grecians. Torture was introduced. Physical torture was introduced. Remember the mother and the 7 sons of 2 Maccabees chapter 7? The mother and the 7 sons is from 2 Maccabees chapter 7, where the mother and the 7 sons were arrested for refusal to violate Yahuwah's laws and for refusal to eat the unclean thing. And so because this mother and her 7 sons refused to violate the laws of Yahuwah and refused to eat the food of the heathens, they were tortured. And this woman watched all 7 of her sons get tortured in her face. And when it got down to the last son, they increased the torture. And she encouraged her sons to endure and to die with dignity, because your reward is in the heaven, and Yahuwah is recording all of these wicked heathens. The things that's coming in the future, you're going to be seeing your people getting hung in trees and dragged by trucks. The beast is coming. So no matter what, during this third beast, this woman and her sons, this is the main story that we're sticking to. This woman and her son and her 7 sons would not renounce their belief, and they would not eat the unclean thing. That is in 2 Maccabees chapter 7. Start at verse 25. So remember, this is them and her 7 sons, and they wouldn't give in. They wouldn't give in to the orders. And let's read a little bit about that. 2 Maccabees chapter 7, start at 25.
Verse 25. But when the young man would in no wise give heed, the king called to him his mother and exhorted her that she would counsel the lad to save himself. And when he had exhorted her with many words, she undertook to persuade her son. But bending down toward him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn, she spoke this in the language of her fathers. My son, have pity upon me that I carried you 9 months in my womb and gave you suck 3 years and nourished and brought you up to this age and sustained you. I implore you, my child, to lift your eyes to the heaven and the earth and to see all things that are in it, and so to recognize that Elohim made them not of things that were, and that the race of men in this way comes into being. Do not be afraid of this butcher, but proving yourself worthy of your kindred, accept your death, that in the mercy of Elohim I may receive you again with your kindred. But before she had yet ended speaking, the young man said, Whom do you wait for? I obey not the commandment of the king, but I listen to the commandment of the law that was given to our fathers through Moshe. But you that have devised all manner of evil against the Hebrews will in no wise escape the hands of Elohim, for we are suffering because of our own sin. And if for rebuke and chastening our living Elohim has been angered a little while, yet will he again be reconciled with his own servants. But you, O unholy man, and of all most vile, be not vainly lifted up in your wild pride with uncertain hopes, raising your hand against the heavenly children, for not yet have you escaped the judgment of the Almighty Elohim that sees all things. For these, our kindred, having endured a short pain that brings everlasting life, have now died under Elohim's covenant. But you, through the judgment of Elohim, will receive in just measure the penalties of your arrogance. But I, as my kindred, give up both body and soul for the laws of our fathers, calling up on Elohim that he may speedily become gracious to the nation, and that you, amidst trials and plagues, may confess that he alone is Elohim, and that in me and my kindred you may stay the wrath of the Almighty, which has been justly brought upon our whole race. But the king, falling into a rage, handled him worse than all the rest, being exasperated at his mocking. So he also died, pure from pollution, putting his whole trust in Yahuwah. And last of all, after her sons, the mother died. Let it then suffice to have said so much concerning the enforcement of sacrificial feasts and the king's exceeding barbarities.
Barbarians. These people are barbarians. Hallelujah. Come on. What did that touch anybody? What you think about what you just heard? Tell me, Auntie.
He read him
fulfilled.
And he told him, you think you're doing something, but I am the Son of the Most High, and you will get your just reward. And that's what made him angry, the king, because he read him Rak Yahuwah.
Yes.
You know, this is my chapter right here, because this, if we could get to this right here, we will endure to the end.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is where we got to get.
This is where we have to get.
Yes.
Because as we're going to get to it, this fourth, that was during the third beast. So that wasn't even mixed in with the fourth beast yet. When this fourth beast comes, it's going to be absolutely. Think about the video where the lady says it's a spirit of madness. These people in this country are literally going to be possessed. It had me, y'all know how we've always been talking about all of these locusts that come up out the pit in the 9th chapter of Revelation. They're going to possess these white supremacists. That's why if you are a white person and you have any of that in you, you better get it out now, because something is going to come into you where you might have just been a little bit not liking, and where it's going to become a vile hatred. Remember how they first brought us here and they said that we was how many percents of a human being?
Wasn't it like 1/3?
1/3 of a human. So if you double that, because we are in the time of the feet, you're not even humans. And I'm bringing you the news that unfortunately it is coming specifically for you, Judah. Hallelujah. Let's go to the fourth beast, the Romans. Now remember that the fourth beast, the Romans, is a, make sure you put this in there, it is a long kingdom. The fourth beast expands over a long period of time. Basically, from the time of Yahusha till now. Those long years. So they estimate that it's been about 2,000 years. So you can look at that as like both legs. 1,000 years a leg is how long this fourth beast is perfecting what it learned from its previous predecessors, the first, second, and third beast, and the beginning of the fourth beast. Because remember, the fourth beast that Daniel and Ezra is talking about is what? What part of the statue is it talking about? The feet and the toes. It is the feet and the toes that is the worst part of the beast, the part at the end that crushes and destroys and tramples all under what? Underfoot. So let's see what happened at the beginning. What are some notable things? This part, we're talking about the beginning of the fourth beast. So remember that the devil and all of the predecessors, that they are concerned about losing their authority. Where the fallen angels, they didn't want to give up the authority that they had to Adam. Where King Nimrod didn't want to lose his authority that Abraham was going to do. where Pharaoh was concerned about his authority of the Hebrews multiplying. So the very first thing that happens in the fourth beast at the beginning of it is Herod. Turn to Matthew chapter 2. Herod. So he gets word that a ruler is coming. And he is going, so this is the beast is following it down. So he hears that a ruler is coming. So the devil is thinking, is this that ruler that's going to crush my head? So Herod is hearing that a ruler of the Yahudim is coming. And so he is going to try to kill him using the Magi. And when that doesn't work, the same spirit that comes from Pharaoh, kill all of the males 2 and under. This is Hasatan, literally chasing the lineage that would come and to destroy him. Not knowing where it's coming from. But he figured out, okay, it's coming from David. Then he figures out, okay, it's these Yahudim. So then these beasts, through 4 beasts, follows the Yahudim all the way to this climax that we're approaching. Matthew chapter 2. And we're going to read just a little bit of it. Starting in verse 1, it says, and Yahusha, having been born in Bethlehem of Judah in the days of Herod the king. See, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, where is he who has been born sovereign of the Yahudim? For we saw his star in the east and have come to do reverence to him. And Herod the sovereign, having heard, was troubled, and all of Yerushalayim with him. And having gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he asked them, where is the Hamashiach was to be born? And they said to him, in Bethlehem of Judah. For thus it has been written by the prophet, but you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, you are by no means least amongst the rulers of Judah. For out of you shall come a ruler who shall shepherd my people, Yasharal. So Herod is like, oh, nah, this dude is coming to take away my rule. And then another messenger appeared to Joseph and Mary up there in about verse 13 and take the child and get out of here and go to Egypt. So now skipping down to 16, when Herod, having seen that he was fooled by the Magi, he was greatly enraged, and he sent forth and slew all the male children of Bethlehem and in all its borders, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had exactly learned from the Magi. Hallelujah. The fourth beast, seeking to kill you, Yahudi. So what was the second main thing that you can take away from the time of the fourth beast at the beginning? Number 2 is Yahusha. He was betrayed by his own. He was killed by his own, by the hands of the fourth beast. So what can we expect? They're coming after the males. Number one. What else can you expect? That they're going to use your own kind to betray you and to kill you, to deliver you up. Yahusha was betrayed and killed by his own during the fourth beast. So not only is snitching coming, but backstabbing is coming. It's coming a time, y'all, where you ain't gonna even be able to trust your own family. That's the kind of stuff that's coming. The next thing that happened during the time of the fourth beast is what was prophesied in the book of Deuteronomy did not happen until the fourth beast, that we would be scattered amongst all nations. That happened in the fourth beast. And so now, if you move a little further down the line in the first beast at the top, what else happened? They took notes from the third beast with the torture. And they took notes from the third beast with the assimilation. So think about this. The fourth beast saw how the Greeks forced assimilation and mixing, and then they perfected it with the Greek gods, which is the foundation of the Catholic Church. They perfected it and got it so good that they sent it out. So what else did the fourth beast perfect? They perfected torture. They seen and read how the Maccabees tortured, where the Maccabees were tortured. So when the Inquisition and the Dark Ages come, oh, they took torture to a whole different level. You see what's coming? You ever looked at any images of the Inquisition? And how they would tie people to wheels and wrap them around and roast them like pigs and stick stuff in them. It literally, the Inquisition, if you look at some of the images, it literally just reminds you of what you think hell would be. Just down there getting tortured. So remember that we wrote that at the time of the fourth beast, it would be a long kingdom, and we're talking about the top. So as we start going down the legs of this beast from the Inquisition, you got slavery. Look at how they treated the people in slavery, in not only capturing them, but bringing them over here. What were some of the things that they did during the time of slavery?
They cut them up,
Mm-hmm.
made shoes, sewed niglet ears, ate them.
Fed 'em to alligators.
Yeah.
Hey, if you can handle it, get this book. It is absolutely horrible to read about what these people did. Remember that Yahuwah says that he judges the iniquity of the fathers onto the children to the third and fourth generation. So those people who had that mindset then, that same spirit, it kind of went dormant. It didn't go away, but it went lower, and now it is being raised up again during the feet of this fourth beast. So any of the things you can think of that you've heard about slavery, that you've read about, that you've heard about the Inquisition, it's coming back. But this time it's going to be absolutely unstoppable without Yahusha coming back. Hangings. Ku Klux Klan. What does that mean? They're going to start forming these groups. You see them starting to form these groups now. And it's going to get so bold that how they was in the past, where they wasn't ashamed to form groups like the Ku Klux Klan and just be out there, that same thing is coming back. And so then you get to the civil rights era, where the way that think about what's going on with the police, and equivalated to what happened in the civil rights era. Coming after you with dogs and stuff. And so on and so on. So there you have it. All 4 beasts. And the main points that happen during all 4 beasts. Now, if you take everything that we read from the first beast, everything you read from the second beast, and everything you read from the third beast, and everything you read from the top portion of the 4th beast, and then mix it all together and stir it up real good, then add extra seasoning to it. That is Jacob's trouble. So when you mix all of that together, you have the feet and the toes of the 4th beast. What do feet and toes do on a statue? Because it's a reason why the 4th beast and the part that we're concerned about is at the feet and the toes. So what do the feet and the toes do?
They stabilize you.
It gives you balance and
Balance.
stability. And what do your feet do?
They hold you up.
Well, I'm talking about like in forms of what it's coming to do. The feet is what crushes. It crushes. Hallelujah. The time is now, y'all. Jacob's trouble is coming, ready or not. And it's coming for you, the lineage of Dawood. Hallelujah.